Hello, friends. Happy holidays. Um, I've missed you a lot, guys. It's been roughly a month off the camera. I got sick for a couple of days, but I thank God I am well and much better. And it feels so great to be back, actually. Yeah, so let's take it from where we stopped. Okay, so today I have a very important and very interesting topic, and especially for those of you who are interested in immigrating to Atlantic Canada. And without much ado, let's get to it. Okay. Today we are going to look at the Atlantic Immigration Program, or if you like, AIP. Okay? If you have heard about this program, hands up! If you haven't heard about it, don't worry, I got your back, okay? All right, so Atlantic Immigration Program is one of the permanent residence pathways for foreign skilled workers and international graduates from recognized institution in one of the 4 provinces in Atlantic Canada. That include Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, as well as Newfoundland and Labrador. Okay, so if you are a foreign skilled worker, if you're an international graduate, this is one of the programs for you to check out if you want to get your permanent residence. Okay, so we're going to look at the requirement or what you need to participate in this program. And number 1 is work experience. Okay, so if you're a skilled worker, you need to meet the work experience requirement, and that is 1 year of experience in the last 5 years, or 1,560 hours, which is about 30 hours per week if you work full-time for a year. And the best thing is that if you have worked for different employers, you can be able to add up your hours, whether part-time or full-time. Okay, a very important note to make here is that any unpaid internship, any volunteer work, any self-employed work, those hours don't count for this program. Too bad. Okay, so those ones don't count. Okay, and if you are a student, then you can also be able to count your hours as long as it doesn't exceed what is authorized for you to work. Okay, I know before COVID, students were allowed to work for 20 hours a week, and then come COVID, it was increased to 40 hours per week, and I believe that hasn't changed yet. But be careful to check what is authorized for you so that you don't exceed those hours. For international graduates, you do not need to show work experience requirement if you have been able to graduate with a diploma, a degree, or a certificate. If you took a 2 years program of full-time studies in one of the Atlantic provinces, and if you have lived in one of the provinces for 16 months for the 2 years of your study. Okay, so you do not need to show the work experience requirement. Okay, So for the skilled workers, your work should be able to be in one of these national occupation classification, or the tier, the training, education, experience and responsibility categories. Okay, so we have tier 0 to 4. Okay, so your work should be in one of the tiers. Okay, so for tier 0, those are the management jobs, such as restaurant managers or mine managers, those kind of management jobs. Okay, for tier 1, we have professional jobs that usually requires you to have a degree and university study, and that is like the doctors, the dentists, the pharmacists, the nurses, those kind of professionals. Okay, or if you have a university degree. Okay, and then tier 2, we have technical jobs and skilled trades, and those are jobs that requires you to have at least 2 years of college training. Okay, or if you have supervisory responsibility or safety responsibilities, such as police officers or firefighters, right? Then we have tier 3, and tier 3, they are also technical jobs and skilled trades that requires less than 2 years of training, or at least more than 6 months of on-job training. Okay, and then we have tier 4. This tier is intermediate jobs that usually requires a high school certificate or high school diploma. Jobs like truck drivers, industrial butchers, or food and beverage servers. All right, so your job or your work experience should be within those tiers. The other requirement that you need is the education requirement. Okay, and for education requirement, just as I mentioned earlier, depending on your occupation, you will require a degree, you will require a diploma, college diploma, or you're going to require a training that is at least more than 6 months, or a high school diploma. Okay, and if you studied outside Canada, this means that you will require an education credential assessment. The other requirement is the language requirement, and there's something that I want to emphasize when it comes to language requirement. And what I want to say is that do not be deceived. If you are applying for a permanent resident, you're going to need to meet a language requirement, and that is for everyone, whether you're in Canada or whether you are applying outside of Canada. For all the permanent residents application, you will have to meet this requirement. So don't be deceived that you do not require any language requirement for permanent residents. The best thing about this requirement is that the benchmark is quite low. Okay, for professional, you need a Canadian language benchmark of 5, and that is for tier 0 to tier 3. And for those who are in tier 4, you need a CLB of 4. Okay, and that is general training for your language test. Okay, so it's not academic, it's general training. You can either have English or French. Okay, so make sure you meet the language requirement for your permanent residence application. All right, and your result must be less than 2 years old when you apply. Are we good? All right. So the next requirement for you is the settlement funds. I know many don't like this part, but you're going to require settlement funds, or what we call proof of funds. Okay, and this is just to make sure that you will be able to support yourself, and if you have a family or dependents, you will also be able to support them as you adjust to life in Canada. So it's still one of the best things for you. Like, you have to be prepared, because you will need accommodation. If you have a family, you will need a house, you need food, you need some to pay some bills, you know. Like, there's some basic needs that you need to cover when you come, right? So it's an advantage for you to have those funds ready for you to use. Okay, so it's not a bad thing, and it depends on the size of the family that you have. So the amount of money you require depends on the size of the family that you have. Okay, so the other and very important requirement is for you to get a job offer from a designated employer. Okay, and what that means is that the employer who is offering you a job must be approved by the province to be able to participate in this program. Okay, so they must be designated to be able to give you a job offer, and you can be able to get these employers from one of the 4 provinces. So it doesn't matter which one, but as long as you're able to get a job from one of the provinces. Okay, and the job offer must be a full-time job offer, and especially for those in tier 0 to tier 3, your job offer should be able to last at least 1 year before you become a permanent resident. Okay, and then for those in tier 4, like, your job offer should not have an end date. So make sure that your job offer doesn't have an expiry date. Okay, or it's not a contract for 1 year, 2 years. It should not be able to have an end date. Okay, and then your job offer should not be a seasonal job. Okay, so make sure that your job offer is the right one for this program. Once we have a job offer, then we can be able now to gather all the needed documents and be ready to start an application for a permanent resident. And I have made a video about PR Ready and the documents that you need to prepare for your permanent residence application. I would advise if you would go and check out that video. I'll leave the link in the description box so that you can be able to get ahead in preparing your documents. And there is going to be other forms, digital forms for you to fill out for your application. So there's a checklist for you. Once you have those documents ready to go, then we can now be able to get a settlement plan. Okay, and the importance of getting this settlement plan is because once you get the settlement plan, the employer is going to send this to the province and your job offer, and the province is going to endorse your job offer. That means it's going to approve that the job offer is legit and that you meet all the requirements, so which gives you a higher percentage that your permanent residence application is going to be approved. Okay, so with the settlement plan, your employer is going to connect you with the agencies that help people to make a plan to be able to adjust and transition once you come to Canada. Okay, because there are a few things that you need to be acquainted with once you arrive in Canada. Okay, so you need those people to help you to get ready and to be moving once you get here. Okay, so they're going to help you to make that plan, and once you get that plan, then your employer is going to handle that with the province, and once everything is approved, then the province is going to issue you with a certificate of endorsement. Okay, that means your job offer is approved. Okay, and then you can be able to go ahead and put an application for your PR. Okay, so once you get your certificate of endorsement, now you can go ahead and create your application account and submit your document and your application. Okay, so the best thing with this application is that while you're waiting for your permanent residence, you can be able to apply for a temporary work permit for you to be able to work as you wait for your a PR application to go through. And you can also be able to apply for an open work permit for your partner if you have one. All right, so this work permit is only for the Atlantic Immigration Program. It's valid for 2 years, and it allows you to work for only for the employer who offered you the job. So you cannot be able to work for any other employer at this point. Okay, so this work permit is just for your employer who offered you the job. All right, so now once you have your work permit, you can be able to get your visa and travel and be able to start your work, and then as you wait for your permanent resident. Okay, usually the permanent resident for this program, as per now, it's taking about 6 months for you to get your permanent resident card. Okay, and the cost for this application is gonna take you about 1,365 Canadian dollars. Okay, so that's the cost as per now for this application. So that's the program, and I'm going to leave the link for this program in the description box so that you can be able to check it out and get more information and be able to do more of the research and be able to get acquainted with it and see how you can go about it. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the video, and if you like it or if you find this information helpful to you, kindly hit the like button, give it a thumbs up, subscribe and share with your friends and families, and that is much appreciated.